listener, Cleveland, Ohio. What do you want to say?
Yeah, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Thanks.
I just want to say, hey.
I'm Larry King. I don't have too much more time left on the air. All you wanted to say was, hey.
Yeah, man.
Fuck you. Hang up. Caller from Lansing, Michigan. James, how are you doing?
Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Thanks, James. What do you want to talk about tonight?
Yeah, I was on this podcast and they kicked me off, and I'm feeling like shit. I don't know. I just wanted to say that I don't think I talk too much, and that was their main complaint, was that I talk too much and I don't get to my points. But
so what do you want to talk about, James?
Well, way back when I was in middle school, there was this time.
We really were ready to start 20 years ago, James.
No.
I just want to talk about
that's it. Mike's.
Want to ring the bell?
I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
I'm a loner, Daddy. Rebel.
I am the walrus.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to John Hates Movies, the movie review podcast where my friends prevent me from dragging them along to see dead bodies and instead force me to watch movies.
So topical.
I know.
That's good. That's good.
This week we have with us Eric Largent.
Tally ho.
We have Chris Arsenault.
Seems like you could drag the dead body to them. It's not like the dead body's going to complain.
That's true. We have James Barrow.
I got nothing this week.
And we have Colin McMillan.
So, did you guys have a good Thanksgiving? I know I did, but let me tell you, we had this sweet potato casserole, and it was so amazingly good. I just couldn't stop eating it. I ate sweet potato casserole until I couldn't even speak. I call it the silence of the yams.
Oh, God.
Really?
Wow, now I know I had nothing. Colin stole my mojo.
Woo! All right. On that note, this week we watched Stand By Me. This movie stars Will Wheaton, River Phoenix, Corey Feldman, Jerry O'Connell, and Kiefer Sutherland. It was directed by Rob Reiner. And the synopsis was, when four boys seek adventure in the woods while looking for a missing teenager's dead body, they learn some truths about themselves along the way.
Which totally sounds like an after-school special about it being okay to be gay. Which
I have to take issue with your readings of the actors, because we all know it is Jerry, the fat kid from Stand By Me, O'Connell. Yeah. River, what do you mean these aren't Tic Tacs, Phoenix?
Oh,
Jesus. Make a joke about Corey Feldman. Let's go.
Corey, original Ninja Turtle Feldman, or do you have any change Feldman?
Ooh.
And Space Nerd Will Wheaton.
So,
Wesley Crusher didn't want any of that? Wesley Crusher didn't want
Space Nerd.
Okay.
He's a Space Nerd.
So Feldman was one of the original Ninja Turtles? I didn't know that.
It was Donatello.
And like cartoon or movie?
Movie.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
I learned something today. So yeah.
So,
Stand By Me.
Who wants to talk about this movie?
Well, it was my choice. I'll be happy to start out if you like.
Why don't you, Colin? Please start us off.
I would be happy to. Human compatriot. We are normal.
Yes, we are.
Everything is normal. All is well. Do not be alarmed. Okay, so I hadn't watched this movie in quite some time. I really cannot remember the last time I saw it. Such that like it starts. I don't usually like read the blurb before I watch these. I'm just like, oh yeah, this is about the bunch of kids that dodge a train. You know.
You're right.
So I started it up and I was like, I the only kid I remember was in it was River Phoenix. So I started and I was like, holy shit, Will Wheaton. Holy shit, Corey Feldman. That must be River Phoenix. I don't remember what he looks like. Oh yeah, because he's sure not this fat kid. Okay, all right, I know who everyone is. Spoilers: I did enjoy this upon repeat viewings. Though Stand By Me makes me wonder a lot about Stephen King because this takes place in Castle Rock. Now, wasn't like most of his stuff take place in Castle Rock? Isn't Castle Rock his town?
Castle Rock, Maine, though, not. He alternates. He has he does like Bangor, Maine. He does like Castle Rock. What took place in Castle Rock was Cujo, Needful Things, some other stuff too. I really can't. If you had asked me this 10 years ago, I would have been able to be like, "Wow, wow."
Well, the Gunslinger series,
Actually,
not so much. However.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I could have done it all, but he has like 3 primary cities. Back when he was like really prolific, writing a lot of horror, he had like 3 primary cities that he kind of operated in.
Right.
And mythos is for. Castle Rock was one of them.
Was it the Oregon version of Castle Rock?
No, I think they did Oregon for the movie, probably just because the location shootings and stuff. I don't know, but it's got beautiful scenery, and I don't know if you.
It's pronounced Origin, and I'm pretty sure the origin of Castle Rock started with the Pilgrims. So we can just put that to rest right now.
Okay.
I'm not touching that one.
God, you died of dysentery.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, Colin, this is bad.
Wagon train.
So a little bit of trivia about Castle Rock. So Meathead himself, Rob Reiner, directed this movie. Yeah. After making this movie, he created Castle Rock Entertainment.
Okay.
And anyone that's watched Seinfeld knows that they were published by Castle Rock Entertainment because you see that logo at the end of every episode.
I was thinking about that when I was watching this movie, and I was like, well, Castle Rock, that's the name of the production company. Of course, I could not remember anything that they did, nor did I decide to do any research to actually verify that. I did this like 1995 style. I was like, boy, I'd like to know a whole lot more about that. Oh well.
Yeah, that is one of the things about.
So, yeah, like I said, I enjoyed this. However, I went on a Stephen King movie binge a few years ago, and he's got all these tropes that he always uses. So watching this, now I've never read the original story, which is called The Body, for those of you listening at home. It is not called Stand By Me. It is called The Body. And
I can
I'm
see
like,
how that.
I know this is Stephen King, but how is there a Stephen King movie with 4 kids in it and not one of them is psychic? How?
Or
it's Stephen King.
Mentally disabled.
Right,
there was no
or both.
There was no supernatural in this whatsoever.
Not at all. Not at all. And if you watch a lot of his supernatural ones, it seems like Stephen King cannot resist making children psychic. It's like it's like Silver Bullet. It's about werewolves. Oh, there's a psychic kid. It's like and by the way, Silver Bullet sucks. It's so bad. It's really, really bad.
Yeah, I prefer Coors Banquet beer to Coors Light.
Indeed, sir.
That was an Eric pun because it was about alcohol.
It's not beer.
In the boy band that John hates movies, it's like Eric is the drinker. So this movie made me think a lot about child actors, though, because you watch a lot of movies and child actors are pretty lousy in a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
But honestly, like watching this, I really feel like the cast of this movie is pretty strong for a group of young actors.
They're all very good.
I think so too. I particularly think River Phoenix and Corey Feldman both are really spectacular in this movie.
Really? Corey Feldman?
I split off a bit with Corey Feldman too.
I was pretty sold on Teddy Duchamp on this.
But that laugh.
Oh yeah. Oh no. This is the thing. Like Teddy Duchamp is a horribly obnoxious character. He's awful and he's effed up. Mm-hmm. But in my mind, John sent me a text and said he had replaced this movie in his brain with The Sandlot. I hope that's not a spoiler. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But in my brain,
it's a spoiler to James's review. I don't know what you guys watch, but
I think what was supposed to happen is The Sandlot was supposed to be Stand By Me 2, and it just got rewritten.
Dude, that would make so much fucking sense.
Yeah, people were like, "Oh, nobody's ever going to go for that." Why? Because there's no song called Stand By Me 2.
One huge difference was nobody in Sandlot called another kid a faggot.
Right. Oh man.
So,
yeah. Okay.
There's a lot of that in Stand By Me.
to another point that I was going to make. Stand By Me, not just a non-humorous dry run for South Park. Like, 4 kids with foul mouths going on an adventure, and, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's actually about being a grown-up in there, and they all call each other fuckers and faggots and, like, swear and cuss at each other. And
there's the one fat kid who's
dirty,
stupid.
blonde, poor kid dies.
Yep.
Like, this is like, this is South Park. I was like, wow, South Park is just Stand
It
By
only
Me.
took, like, another 15 years for Kenny to die.
Yeah, but, you know, he still dies.
So Stan Marsh is going to grow up to be Stephen King?
Yes, the main character author.
No, he's going to grow up to be Richard Dreyfuss.
Similar to, but legally distinct from Stephen King. Here's my problem with Stand By Me. The movie is called Stand By Me, and all of the music in the movie that is not actually period music is based on the song Stand By Me. And it, to me, was so obvious, and, like, it jarred me and took me out of things, like, because these kids are talking and you hear this, like, rescored version of Stand By Me in the background, but it sounds like sneaking music. It's sort of like, it's like bloom 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 bloom, and it sounds to me like the song Stand By Me is trying to sneak up on me while I watch this movie. and every time, this happens like 4 or 5 times during the movie, and every time I'm like, okay, I fucking know. I know the movie's called Stand By Me, okay? I know it's named after that song. But the thing is, the movie has nothing to do with the fucking song. It's called The Body. The story is called The Body, and you just put this music in because no one would go see a movie about 12-year-olds that was called The Body, so you named it after a popular song, and now you're fucking wedging it in there.
That's just...
Yeah.
There's just so many things wrong with that.
You know what I'm saying?
So the movie got named Stand By Me by Meathead because they're all just sitting around in a room and just like throwing ideas at the wall for what they should call this movie, and Stand By Me was the least hated option, so they just went with it.
Wow.
Okay, in terms of like camaraderie and friendship and, you know, sticking together, the title makes sense, which is why it annoys me so much that they put the music in there, because I'm like, okay, it's not what the story is called, but it works.
No, Colin, it's synergy.
It's
Colin, stand
I know.
Colin, won't you stand by me?
We get the picture. God. Just
It's
leave it
one of my
alone.
favorite
Stand By Me.
songs.
Go away. I'm
Just
trying
in
to watch
general,
this
but...
movie. You know, that's how I felt.
A Stephen King book called The Body. You open it up and you read that it's about like 4 12-year-olds going on an adventure. It's that, like, if you knew nothing about it, that has to completely surprise you. You're like, oh, it's called The Body. I bet this is terrifying.
The Body was a novella contained within 4 short stories. Or contained within a book that had 3 other novellas. Seasons, I think it was, if I remember correctly. So, like, each one was supposed to take place thematically in a different season. And also, like, I think seasons of a person's life or something like that.
Sure.
So that was the one that represented youth and
fall,
summer.
Yeah,
They
summer.
only
That was a
mentioned
summer.
Oh, yeah, that was a
like
summer.
4 or 5 times in the movie.
Yeah, so...
Well, no,
they?
they mentioned that they're going back to school and that Will Wheaton is wants River to be in classes with him because he's kind of smart.
So
like
the
him.
person who picked up Seasons probably wasn't all that shocked. Or he might have been shocked about that one story, but still knew it was Stephen King.
Right, but I'm talking about movie-going public. Like, you hear the name The Body, you don't think about an adventure full of 12-year-olds.
Well, yeah, that's why they didn't name it The Body, because because The Body sounded like a porno.
Correct. And it's not so much the name of the movie that bothers me, it's the insistence on all the original score for the movie being themed around the song of the same name. It was, I feel like this has, like, studio exec written all over it. Like, we have to have the song in every scene.
Well, they paid for
Colin,
it. They probably had to get as much use out of it as they possibly could.
Probably.
Colin, I don't think you had nearly as much problem with it when we were watching Convoy. a whole movie about a song.
Yes, but the content of that movie was based on the song.
Based on the song. There were no mountains crumbling
Not
in
only
this
that,
movie. If there were mountains crumbling and tumbling
Right,
and falling, then I would have been much more invested.
Now, if, also, they didn't like adapt the song to like a smooth, sneaky version where it sounds like it's trying to sound like other music, but it's based on a song that's so goddamn iconic that it will never sound like anything else. Like do 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 do. What does that sound like? Anything besides "Stand by Me"? I don't think so. So like you never like that's how I felt in all those scenes. I'm like, you're not fooling anybody. We know what that is.
Colin goes to see the Nutcracker and is disappointed there to find out there are a bunch of people dancing.
What the fuck was that?
That's like a straw
Where's
man.
the Nutcracker?
That's a straw man you're setting up to try to tear me down easier. You'd be great in politics, you villainous fuck. Don't think Colin won't take away your guns. That's you right now. That's you. You're Sarah Palin.
Oh,
Wow.
well. The upside, I'll have a good reality TV career.
It's true. You'll be fantastically wealthy.
And you can see Russia from your house.
Yep.
So I'll conclude.
It's quite convenient. Our Russian neighbors.
They just bring the oil right to your door.
Oh yeah.
So I will conclude my portion with just a question for to poll the rest of the crew. Good child acting, is this because you just happen to have 4 really, really talented young actors, or is it Rob Reiner's direction?
Mostly, I'd have to say, generally, when you get a good performance out of child actors, most of the time it's direction. It's almost.
I would say it's probably direction too. I mean, like I said, it's been a little while since I've seen the film, but I mean, Rob Reiner is a good director in that he gets really involved with his actors. Like, he isn't one of those directors that just says, all right, go, and lets them act. He's very involved with actually directing the actors rather than just the scene.
I do have to say probably River Phoenix was probably just really good. Like, probably better than all of them.
Well,
period.
So I can tell you what Will Wheaton said about this exact subject.
Oh.
And he said it was all a matter of casting. So Will Wheaton was supposed to play a timid, kind of nerdy character. Well, they cast timid, kind of nerdy Will Wheaton.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Feldman was supposed to play a character that has family issues and is mad at his parents. Well, Corey Feldman in real life has family issues and is mad at his parents. Jerry O'Connell was supposed to play a fat funny kid, and guess what? Jerry O'Connell was a fat funny kid. Like, and River Phoenix was supposed to play the father figure to all these people, or at least according to Will Wheaton. And like on set, like he was like the big brother. He was the guy that like kind of, he was like the leader of the crew.
Yeah.
So Will Wheaton says it was a matter of casting.
So essentially, they created outside of the film the dynamic they were looking for inside the film.
Yes.
That's
I
that's
don't
pretty
want to
cool.
disagree with Will Wheaton, but I honestly think that
I think Will Wheaton would know better than you, John.
No, I mean, okay, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that actually probably had a lot to do with it, but I also think that it was the writing.
Yeah.
I think that their writing wasn't that demanding on the kids. So I think that they were able to kind of perform it. Like,
and there wasn't a whole lot of
It's not
bullshit.
like it's really hard to tell a kid to call another kid an asshole, a faggot, or
Most
whatever.
of the time,
fucker.
people
And if
don't
you
write
need 'em
that
to
for
cry-
kids. They write, like, something that's a little too innocent and shit for them.
That's not how I write kids.
that's the thing
Which is
is,
also
like,
why I'm not published.
A lot of people write kids as like the sort of like cartoon highlights for kids version of children.
And I've always hated that. I think, quite honestly, you look at kids. Most kids, as adults, we look at kids and we think that they're not as smart as we are.
right.
And then you realize the weird, almost supernatural, like perception that children have that adults, frankly, just close off. I think more than that. That's I think that's what
when you
what's his face? Stephen King writes. He isn't so much trying to make. Okay, obviously he makes kid's supernatural, but I think he's just throwing in your face that that children tend to be a lot more than we just see them as.
It's true.
Making them fucking psychic is kind of fucking stupid, but
obviously a Stephen King fan.
Well, look, there are
guess
some writers
making
who write
them retarded
children.
is also kind of stupid.
Yes, there are some writers who write children well. Stephen King writes children well. Ray Bradbury writes children well. There are writers out there that have the capacity to kind of access what it was really like as opposed to what we think it was like.
And that's interesting that you say that, because watching Stand By Me, and in the end, that last line is like, does anyone have friends like the friends you had when you were 12? And I thought about it, and I'm like, when I was 12, like, my friends and I never had an adventure like that, but it really felt like we did. Just riding your bikes around the neighborhood or whatever. Being that is. I feel this movie successfully captures a very iconic stage in young people's lives. It's the first time that you get just a tiny whiff of agency in your life, where this is the first time you have any tiniest degree of control, even if that degree might be in the form of a bike or walking down the tracks for a day and a half or whatever. Like it's the first shreds of identity and control over your own life, and I do feel Stand By Me captures that very well. Also, it was like I've lauded the child actors. I just want to cite River Phoenix and Will Wheaton. At the tree in the nighttime scene. That's some good fucking acting. They did
It really is.
They knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Whether it's writing, direction, or talent on the part of the cast, those kids hit it out of the park. That's a phenomenal exchange. Just a beautiful scene. I feel like even if you didn't like the rest of the movie, you got to give it that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the best two scenes in this film are Sick Balls
by the way,
and
that
the
dog
leech
is so
scene.
cute.
Oh yeah,
the leech scene where Will Wheaton peels the leech off his
nuts.
nuts.
My God. Yeah, that's the only scene. That and Lardass, only scenes I remembered. That and Lardass.
I forgot about the leech scene.
Oh God. So
I forgot about the lead scene too, but I remember Lardass.
So John, do you wanna help me pass the ball here? Like,
yeah, sure. Let's go with.
I can go.
Yeah, let's go with Eric. Yeah, it's okay.
Spin the roulette wheel.
Eric Steels.
Yeah, let's go with Eric because we'll keep it along a theme. Obviously, Chris doesn't get to go this week, but
okay, fine. Then I'll just constantly interrupt you guys. It's cool.
Yeah, all we want you to do this week is just tear each other person down. Can you do that? Can you do that, Chris?
I think I can.
So I'm sure Chris can tear me down. Let's just see how this goes. So I've had a long week. I just got back from Colorado.
I can't empathize with you because you went on vacation.
Oh, you're starting a little early, aren't you?
Oh, you know what? I didn't even know that you were doing that. So I'm like, so I don't know if any of you guys can tell, but
your cookie.
I'm like a little bit spaced out today. Like,
sure.
I watched this movie last night, and spoilers. Obviously, because it was a movie from childhood about childlike things. I hadn't seen it before.
Well, damn.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of this stuff.
Yeah.
I was in a weird mood last night. I don't know. Sometimes I get down,
Aww.
and I feel like I don't have like anybody in my life that loves me.
Eric, it's called sobriety.
What are you talking about? Alcohol helps.
No, that's what I'm saying. Sobriety. You feel bad when you're sober.
This is dangerous. That's not a thing.
Anyway, I was just feeling.
That aside, you should call me up sometime. I'm usually doing nothing, so we can hang out and play some video games.
I'm just hanging here at home with my sweet pea. Isn't that right? Nobody.
And I've got a dead body in the basement, so we can just go and look at it.
Dude, it's cool. We can get some sticks. We can poke at it.
We'll have our own adventure. we gotta
Jesus
do is
Christ!
throw some kid on the
I didn't think this was how it was gonna go. So look,
I'll put a leech on your dick.
I'll puke on you.
So anyway, I'm not gonna do any more prologue. I'm just gonna get into the notes.
We're here for you,
On
buddy.
your tits.
Okay. So, and I actually wrote this down. Full disclosure, podcast friends, I'm really sleepy, pretty emotional, and drinking wine. I have no idea how this review is gonna go.
My heart is already warmed.
Let's get going. Yeah, party
Let's
time.
do this.
The first note is, oh shit, River is actually smoking. Like, he was inhaling.
Yep.
River was smoking cigarettes. The other ones were just like drawing into their mouths and puffing out. River Phoenix was smoking in this movie. I don't have a whole lot of notes here.
The smoking was too much.
The next note is, if you name your kid Kiefer, you're a real asshole. I'm looking at you, Donald.
Yeah, I've always. What the fuck is that name? Kiefer?
Kiefer.
It's almost like you wanted to call him Keith,
Right.
but just didn't feel that was like
Didn't feel like
sufficient
stopping
enough.
was an option.
Yes, Keith.
What do you want to name him?
Fur.
We could name him Keith. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and the nurse just
do
writes
you
Kiefer.
want this kid? Yeah, he's a keeper. Or is he a kiefer?
Hey, how you open the door? We got a key for it. Hey, write that down.
So the next note is, I love imagining the Cobras acting hard as fuck, listening to lollipop, lollipop, ooh, lolly, lolly, la, and carving retarded scars into each other's arms.
Right. Shit was so metal.
Well,
Lolly,
kind of
lolly,
blows
la.
my mind is that they were just fucking using a straight razor when honestly they could, like, all you need is a pen and a pin to make a tattoo, and they weren't fucking just tattooing each other.
Yeah,
I don't know.
For a crew of guys known for their brains, it was pretty short-sighted.
So actually, it looks like
Tattoos are forever.
It looks like all of my notes have to do with the Cobras, because they're the part of the movie that you can make fun of, because those guys were fucking lame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were.
So the next joke is, or the next, fuck, I hate it when I call them these things jokes. The next,
So for my next joke, prepare your laughter.
right.
Are you ready? Okay.
Joke incoming. Expect humor.
Right. Jesus. So the next one is right after that, where Kiefer and a couple of the other nerdy Cobras were playing chicken with the lumber truck. Like, Kiefer was gonna pass the nerds, or his boys, and they weren't gonna let him pass. And the lumber truck is coming, and there's either Kiefer has to get back in the lane, or what happened is the lumber truck drove off the road, which was pretty. So anyway, the nerd in the passenger seat yells to the driver, "You let him beat us, you cock knocker!" I don't know, cock knocker. I just wrote lol 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 lol. Cock knocker's funny. And
lots of cock.
oh yeah. And so, and the last note is another part where the Cobras show up. At the very end, when there's the standoff at the body, fucking.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What's up?
Who's there? It's Cock.
Candygram. Are you the land cock? No, ma'am.
All right, I'm sorry. I got it under control
No, it's
now.
all right. So when there's the standoff at the body, they're about to beat up River Phoenix, and Will Wheaton shows up with a gun.
Yeah.
All those kids, every single one of the kids, or no, River and Will, and then Kiefer Sutherland, all of them are doing their best Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry impression. Like, so Kiefer is like, "You're not going to shoot all of us," and Will Wheaton goes, "No, just you, Ace." Like they're trying to be, they're all doing Clint Eastwood impressions in that scene.
Yes.
Like all of them. So yeah, that's what I noticed. You know what? I had never seen this movie before, and it really instead of watching movies like this when I was a kid, I was out riding bikes through the.
You
through
were
the wilderness.
living movies like this?
Yes.
There we go.
This is exactly what I did with every summer, my elementary through middle school years. I really did, we went out in the forest and just ran around.
That's a lot of dead bodies.
Well, we never did see a dead body, but it was.
We got a lot of leeches.
Oh man.
I mean, we did spend an awful lot of time creating weapons to keep away high schoolers, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Creating bows and arrows, I've done that shit.
Or big ass sticks with your name carved on it, that kind of stuff. So I really like this movie, but I feel like in this movie there are 4 different unique characters, but I didn't see myself as any of those characters when I was a kid. I don't know. Did anybody else pick up on a character that they related to in this movie at all?
I mean, obviously, if I was any of them when I was that age, I was Will Wheaton.
Right.
There was no denying that I was the nerd kid. And not only that, I'd go even farther and I'd say I wasn't Will Wheaton in Stand By Me. I was Will Wheaton from Star Trek in Stand By Me.
Wesley Crusher got beamed down to the planet Earth
to look for a dead
in
body.
1953.
He's even more nerdy and inept.
That actually seriously sounds like...
Because I would have been afraid of kids like fucking River Phoenix and...
Right.
And I probably would have tried to make friends with Jerry O'Connell, but then I would have been like, why are you hanging out with those guys? They're so rude. They scare me.
Yeah, see, and for me, I guess if there was ever... It would have been Corey Feldman, maybe?
Yeah,
but
in a weird way, that's kind of where I'm at, too.
Yeah, but I mean,
Really?
the thing is that I grew up with a lot of rage, so... Corey was actually a little bit too well adjusted for who I was at that age.
Yeah, having been dragged down the street from a neighbor's yard as I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, I don't need to go to a psychiatrist, I kind of identified with Teddy Champ.
That's an interesting story.
That's a true story.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, you're certainly proving your point. I mean, that's all.
So
I don't.
So yeah, I don't know. I didn't there weren't any individual kids that I related to in this movie, but I felt like I would have fit in if I was the 5th kid. I don't know.
No, I get that.
There's a 5th kid that's just constantly out of frame.
Yeah. So yeah, in that analogy, I'm Butters.
I feel like if I actually do go back and rewatch Stand By Me, I'm going to watch it imagining Eric in every scene.
That'd be
what
wonderful.
do you think, Eric? Your pants are... I don't know. Pants back.
I'd love to take...
You no fucking help, Eric.
I would love to take...
Guys,
we can't shoot all of us. Shoot him! Shoot him!
Oh my god, they shot Eric! I think it'd be funny to take stills from Stand By Me and Photoshop Eric into them.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
I can give you some pictures of me as a little kid, and we can do that.
So, Eric, earlier you mentioned that that you hadn't seen this movie and you were feeling a little bit vulnerable. So, did this movie give you the feels?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it did. This is a really good movie. It really is. I feel like I should have watched it when I was in middle school or high school or something. This is something that I probably should have watched when I was younger. It's a really good movie. I don't know. And the other thing is every time I see a period piece, I go, shit, I should have been in that period instead of this one. I'm serious. I would kind of like it if all my information came in a book instead of on the internet. And I don't know. I just want things to be slower and simpler a lot of times. And this movie, okay, so this couldn't happen now because all those kids would have cell phones. Their moms would be up their ass about where they are at dinner time.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
There's no way in hell nowadays
this
kids
shit-
would be gone for even
So-
2
A whole
days.
weekend.
So
Except for
I guess I did
me.
just say that I pine to have, to go back and be like, or like it would be nice if I was born in like the 50s. But then again, being born in the 80s and being a child that age in the 90s, my parents, like, if I told my parents I was going to go stay at a friend's house, they just had to trust that was going to be the case. Like, I didn't have a cell phone. I could be out doing whatever the fuck I wanted.
Yeah, they would actually had to call their parents and ask.
So what I'm really disappointed for are kids that are born now that are never not going to have a cell phone, never going to have their parents not up their ass.
That's weird.
Like, that's really going to be awful.
Yeah.
Like,
well, no. There's still an opportunity. Like, when James has kids, he won't remember he has kids.
He might have.
I have one now? Where?
Who the hell are you? Oh, right.
So,
how'd
like,
you get in my house?
You want something to eat?
Isn't there another one of you?
Somebody left a baby here. Is this yours?
What the hell is that noise? I thought it was the water here, but like I checked it, it's fine.
Didn't I feed you yesterday?
So yeah, this, like, things like this where you just go off with your friends and fuck off, like, it's awesome. And I did a lot of that when I was a kid, and I'm a little bummed out that if I ever have kids, they're not going to be able to do that. Like,
because you're going to be up their ass.
Well, no, because I'm going to have a wife that's probably going to be up their
there
ass.
You go.
So on the official Eric Sharknado to Karate Kid scale, I'm going to give this like a 92. This is a great movie.
Nice.
From Sharknado to Karate Kid, this is a Stand By Me.
Yeah, it is. And Stand By Me is a 92.
It's pretty good.
Like, this is a really, really, really good movie. And listeners, you're probably like our age, like, right around 30-ish.
Probably a little younger if you know what a podcast is.
Maybe. I don't know. Whatever.
You are bumming hard.
Yeah, I am. If you have kids, you should make them watch this movie and then make them go do that.
Find a dead body?
Yeah. Take away their cell phones and make them walk for a day.
Drive them out in the middle of nowhere and make them find their way home.
If they don't come back,
march them.
And if they don't come back, just make another.
Take your kids out into the middle of nowhere and drop them off. It'll make them better people.
Yep.
Oh, no.
And hate you a lot.
All right, so let's move on. Let's move on. We're moving on.
Raw hamburger and stick. And
James,
a stick.
what do you got for me?
I have very little.
That's good.
First off, I'd like to say I don't know what any of you guys are talking about. You didn't mention anything about Greg Kinnear's part.
What?
This wasn't like a 5-hour long. Like, you guys are saying this was over pretty quick, and it wasn't like 5 hours long.
I knew it.
I don't even. What are you talking about?
I watched the Stephen King
It's
movie.
another Stephen King.
There was like no dead people. There wasn't a magically, mentally disabled guy.
Oh shit! Did you watch The Stand?
Moon. That spells moon.
Good one.
Good one. I liked it. Wait, now, you mean Gary Sinise, not Greg Kinnear.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gary.
They look very much
leave it
similar.
alone.
They do kind of look similar. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Randy Flagg.
Oh,
Okay.
Randall Flagg, baby.
He's my boy.
Good choice. All right,
All right.
so...
Yeah, it's a fun movie. Everybody cries.
Mm-hmm.
Who cries?
That's it.
Okay, all right.
So what you're saying is Eric's review was completely appropriate.
Yeah. He's not wrong.
Wow.
Everybody
Oh,
cries.
buddy.
Okay, so I guess
So I guess I'll flush that out.
yeah, I guess I'll flesh it a little bit. I watched this movie when I was a little kid.
Fuck you.
Yeah, like I'm surprised at how
And then we went out
how
and
much.
did it.
Wait.
No, we didn't. Actually,
What do you mean by did it?
Wait.
We
we put leeches on our dicks. No.
We found dead bodies.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
There was a truck
Yeah,
stop
like-
near us, and
Yeah.
a lot
I
of
played
dead
with the
bodies
dog.
there.
It was pretty sweet.
Dead hookers.
Yep.
She's a hooker when she's dead.
Jesus.
Ooh.
This always happens.
This
during
is
my
the
reviews.
dark episode. It all started with
Oh boy!
All started with Colin making bad puns.
My dad didn't take away my cell phone and leave me out in the middle of the woods to find my way home.
It all started with Millie giving me gossip about my ex-girlfriend right before the opening of our comedy podcast.
Woo! Yeah,
that's pretty hot.
Thanks, Combs. Good going.
First off, I watched this movie when I was I had to have been about like 11 or 12 or something, and Mom rented it for either me or you or me or my friends having a sleepover or something like that. And
did she have any idea of the language in the movie?
I don't think she did, because that's what really shocked me. Like, I don't remember the language. Like, I don't remember all the fucks and shits and the, like
knockers.
Faggot and all that shit. Like, right. I don't remember any of that shit, and I think I would have remembered, but the thing that I remember the most is Lardass's like throw up thing.
Complete.
And when I was a kid, that seriously like affected me. Like, okay, I liked the scene. Like, I thought it was like just like the pink elephants on Dumbo. It was like, it was right on the edge. Like, it made me really uncomfortable, and I just really kind of liked that. Like, oh, this is like almost scary, but like not too scary.
Well,
so,
no, but like these assholes that are in the pie eating contest with Lardass are really fucking serious about it, and it's like they need to have some puke on them.
Yeah, I didn't know. Like, when I was a kid, I had like all the context. Imagine watching that, all the context flushed away. So you're just watching.
I feel like that's how you watch everything.
Well, this.
so in
when you're a kid,
So in young James's mind, Lardass is the villain of that story.
Almost, yeah.
Wow.
Because in my mind, it was like, I couldn't tell if it was a flashback or like a story or just something. So I was like, well, what the fuck is this? Like, I was watching kids. Now there's this fat ass in a pie eating contest, and I'm like, he's drinking castor oil and he's eating a raw egg, and like I like watching that and like watching the whole thing after that. I was like almost getting sick myself, just feeling like, oh my god, this is so gross. And then it was done. I was like, that was cool, man. Whoa, dude, this movie's cool. And I never watched it again until last night, and then I was like, oh, okay, the throw up scene, cool. I'll watch this again, and I was like, oh yeah, he's drinking castor oil, yeah, he's eating a raw egg, okay. And then I'm like, oh, let's see how the throw up effect was, because in my mind it was like way more traumatic. Like, it was in slow motion, and they had like this really building like music, and it was just like whoa, 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 and people are like,
it's the fucking Christopher Nolan throw up scene.
Whoa, like she's throwing up in her purse, and it's like overflowing with like, not berry throw up, but like yellow and red and like junk, like Campbell's soup throw up, like water bile everywhere.
I'm totally with you, dude. Because
barfs out his guts.
Because I mean,
Scotty beamed his guts into his
face. Mouth. Scotty beamed his guts into space.
No.
I'm with you, James. In my mind, remembering that scene, it was like barf-colored barf with like mustard in it, and there was as much barf matter as human matter in the scene. Like, it was like an
and in the end, like everybody's just like covered, and it's like a Caligula orgy of barf and just like wailing and gnashing of teeth.
I know why. Because of Monty Python's Meaning of Life.
Yeah.
Because
I never watched that movie. I could not watch that movie. I was not allowed to watch that movie.
Well, your mother was wise to make that decision. I have fused the Lardass sequence and the Mr. Creosote sequence from Monty Python's Meaning of Life, which is why I have this like torrential tidal wave of vomit in my mind when I picture that scene.
That scene is so awful. It's so fucking bad.
I think it's the most disgusting piece of film I've ever seen.
Watching it last night, I was like, wow, that barf effect is so terribly done.
Oh yeah, it was just a hose on the side of their faces.
And it's like so comical. Like, it's one of my favorite Saturday Night Live skits is basically that, where they all have like the barf hose in their sleeve, and like people are just watching it, and everybody in the world's barfing, and it's it's just funny. So watching it again, I was like, okay, that's pretty funny. and like that was just it.
And I noticed that too. Because
Johnny
the other thing I
skipped
noticed
it.
is
Wow,
I
it's
skipped it.
kid stuff now.
I
It
was
is literal
I was
kid
afraid.
stuff.
I was actually afraid of that scene.
No,
so
man.
I skipped that scene.
It's really interesting to watch it again because not only is the barf effect like almost like a cartoon, but everybody's face in that sequence is weird. Like everybody is weird looking in it, and what it is it's a visual of a story made up by a 12-year-old.
Yeah. So like
Which
nobody's like really upset or like in pain when they're barfing. It's
No,
like
they're just barfing out a hose on the side of their
they're
mouth.
like, "Whoop! Oh, I barfed." And
It's-
yeah.
Yeah. It's like when kids write stories about that stuff, it would be like, and then he threw up, 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 and everybody was naked. You know, like, and they peed everywhere. Like, kids write stupid stuff. So the lard-ass scene is totally like that. It's completely played up. Like, everybody looks a little weird. The costumes are weird.
The antler club with the old dudes with their antler hats on.
The antler
the benevolent order of antelopes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like it's like a scene from Crybaby right in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, it is. And so like that was pretty much like the only thing that I really wanted to see that I was like, oh well, this is completely different. And
hey James, how about how every time that they're running from the train makes no effort to stop?
Isn't that normal? Every time I'm in front of a train, it just no joke. Every time I find myself in front of a train, it never slows down. In fact, they seem to speed up.
There's that stupid kid hanging out on the tracks again. Get him, Jim.
Yeah.
That's That's okay if reviews can be short. It's surprising that James is the one who reminds us of this lesson, but
I know. Just imagine this movie was a one issue of the Phantom.
Yeah. Fuck you. Yeah.
Oh shit. So I just remembered another thing I wanted to talk about, James. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the inclusion. Okay, so Dickie Dreyfuss should have been typing this story up on a typewriter because the inclusion of that word processor Commodore 69, whatever the fuck he was typing on, like dates the movie to like
so
the
hard.
month. Yeah. Like you gotta have
like
some...
a Radio Shack Tandy or some shit.
Yeah. So he's typing on that thing, and then like he stands up, looks at his creation, sees that it is good, and then turns the machine off. Now, hold up.
Computers do not work that way.
Right. Because computers back then didn't have RAM. They didn't even have hard drives. You needed to take out the disk that your word processor was in, put in your storage disk, save it to the storage disk, and then put back in the word processor disk.
Or hit print on your dot matrix printer.
Right. So yeah.
Well, little
tech rant.
Little artistic license there.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that last line in the movie, Jesus, does anybody? And it's like, I was thinking about that today, and it's like, I wouldn't trade my friends from when I was 12 for the friends I have now, because I remember some of the friends that I had when I was 12.
Dude, which one would you trade for me, though?
Like, that's the thing. You grow out. Sometimes you grow out of your old friends.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You grow and they don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, honestly, I feel like that the group that I have right now is like the best fucking group I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah, we're the best around. And nothing's ever going to bring us down.
Well, Chris, do you have a review for us?
I've seen the movie before.
Oh god.
Okay, here's the thing. When I saw it when I was younger too. Like my parents got it, and like I think it was one of those like my dad was always one of those people like, for example, Blazing Saddles. When I was young, I saw Blazing Saddles because my dad made a joke about Blazing Saddles. Looks at me like I'm supposed to get it. He's like, "You've never seen Blazing Saddles," and we go out and rent it. That's how I've seen a lot of the movies I've seen. And I just want to point out, he shuts off the monitor. Just the monitor. The machine's still on. I just had to check
No!
I literally just watched the end of the film.
Issue with that.
I literally Just watch the end of the film.
You've been Christian.
What the fuck just happened?
Wow.
He did that while he was talking about it.
So anyway,
fucking drop the mic.
when I saw the film when I was younger, I enjoyed it. What the fuck? That said, though, like it was not a movie I wanted to rewatch, and it's not because it's a bad movie. It's just because it's one of those you've seen it once, and I guess it spoke to me when I was, it spoke to me well when I was young. Part of me is I don't want to watch it because it worked for me then. I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to watch it now and realize and think, oh wow, this movie doesn't hold up. I'd rather leave it where it was, I did appreciate it for what it was. It was an interesting film. It was about camaraderie. It was about, having fun. And it was one of those things where, yeah, I remember being a kid pre-cell phone era where I disappeared for days and, I'm gone for 3 days and I'm knocking on the door at 6 a.m. on a Sunday and my mom's like, I thought you were home.
Exactly. That's awesome.
I didn't watch the film because, first off, I didn't think we were recording today, but I was putting it off. I had been putting it off because I really didn't want to rewatch this film.
Leave it in that.
I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's also not really a movie you watch again.
I mean, obviously, it's not what you would consider a bad movie because the last time we watched one of those, The Master, he just refused to be on the podcast.
If it's really bad, he will stay away.
It's not exactly what happened, but yes, that is kind of what happened.
Oh, that's the story. Okay, well, you know what? That's fair. I think I'm going to bring it home for us here.
How dark can you get, Johnny?
Actually, once again, this is one of those things where I'm kind of shocked that Chris is the villain of the podcast because it seems that 9 times out of 10 what I end up doing is damning these movies with faint praise. And I'm going to do it again here. Stand By Me is a good movie, but I think it really heavily relies on that nostalgia kick that you have for when you were a kid. But I don't know if maybe I just wasn't watching it right this time around. But it didn't kick me. It didn't kick me in the feels like I expected it to.
Whew.
And I think
I'm still smarting for where it got me.
I get that concept, but I still am kind of thrown every time someone says I wasn't watching it right.
Yeah, how were you? I mean,
I can actually understand it because I've watched films where the first time I watched it I hated, not this film, but example, Hot Rod. The first time I watched that movie, I thought it was stupid as fuck.
That's a funny movie.
I didn't laugh at all, and I wasn't in the right head. I think I was just in a bad mood, and I watched it, and so everything was fucking stupid.
Right.
Then my brother's like, "No, that's a hilarious movie," and we start watching it again. Maybe it was because I was watching it with my brother, and I really enjoyed that movie. I thought it was fucking hilarious.
Well,
the second time, it's like amazing. But I guess could you elaborate on what kind of what state of mind, what frame were you in that?
To me, not the only movie you can not watch right is when you sync up Wizard of Oz and Dark Side of the Moon. There is a wrong way to do that.
I got a question about watching movies right.
Well, I think
okay. Are you supposed to have your dick out? Because that's the way I watch all movies.
Depends on the movie, James.
James, you remember that Mom listens to this now, right? Set her up with a podcaster and everything. I guess it depends on what you believe about the movie watching experience. If you believe that the movie watching experience is a dialogue between you and the movie's creator, then you can not watch a movie right. Because you can, just like you can have a crappy conversation with somebody, you can have a crappy movie watching experience because you're not bringing the right stuff to the table. And I think that a movie is kind of, in a weird, stupid, maybe even pretentious way, I think a movie is kind of a dialogue between the person who made it and me, the consumer.
I can understand that.
If you think that it is that the onus is entirely on the movie to draw you in, and it is the movie's responsibility to present to you the narrative in a way that you just can't help but get swept along than I was watching this movie, right? And the movie just didn't do its damn job.
See, I'm leaning more to the second half of that I expect the movie to kind of bring me along, not necessarily be talking to me.
And that's a totally valid way to look at it. You know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I also think that there are films that present in both those fashions. So I guess neither one is an accurate
hard and fast rule.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a hard and fast rule. But I think that this movie doesn't have the
You don't think it holds up to what it's trying to do, essentially?
No, it's like this, and this is basically my particular reason that I don't think that this movie didn't really blow me away, is because this movie is meant to hook you in the feels. It's meant to grab that nostalgia. But at this point in my life, I'm a little too far away from, like, I don't actually look back on that time when I was running around in the woods and swinging sticks. It's starting to get hazy now on me. Like, I'm starting to forget what that was like. There is
Maybe you should write a book.
But there is no dandelion wine for me. Like, I remember my early 20s and my teen years a lot more clearly than I remember those hazy days of youth.
Yeah, I hear you.
And so the only other thing that I could grab onto is the time period. But I can't grab onto that. I can't get nostalgic about the 1950s.
Yeah.
That music does nothing for me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it was...
Well, isn't a lot of the things about nostalgia typically something plays and it's not necessarily supposed to be what you did as a kid, but it's supposed to fill in that synapse in your brain that fires all those memories of your own. And it doesn't matter what's on the screen at that point. It's what you're presenting to yourself in your own head. But you're saying none of that's firing for you?
None of that. This movie did not trigger any of that for me.
Huh.
So what I ended up watching...
Just this conversation has triggered those for me.
Yeah, like this movie would have been the same if it was scored with Smashing Pumpkins. To me, you know, because like that would I
think it might have been better.
I like Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a good. I wonder what would happen. You know, can we think off the cuff of a movie that is very much like this in tone and feeling, but takes place when we were growing up?
No.
What about what about My Girl?
My Girl?
Yeah, what about My Girl? Wasn't that
My Girl
more
maybe.
Contemporary?
I don't know that one. I mean, I know of that
My
one.
Girl
I
wasn't
never-
a period piece,
I never
though.
watched it. So we're doing youth oriented, but growing up 80s, 90s ish.
Yeah.
Any John Hughes movie?
That's what I was about to say, but I
Yeah.
don't want to say that because I none of those movies I feel are very representative of any
No,
real
because those
people.
are like high schoolers when we were middle schoolers.
How about Karate Kid?
Karate
There
Kid?
you go.
Actually, Karate Kid is
That's
perfect.
it. That's the one.
And that might explain why I feel so fondly for that movie. Like that, why that movie really gets me in the feels.
Well, shit, it basically has the same antagonist, essentially. Like,
Yeah.
the Cobras and the Cobra Kai are like the same bunch of dudes.
Holy shit!
Besides the fact that they're called the same thing, they're also practically the same bunch of dudes. Just
Maybe
played by
one of
different
the
actors.
gang
Yeah.
members from the Cobras
Johnny Lawrence and
joins the army and then comes out and starts a dojo.
Johnny Lawrence and Reefer Sutherland are basically the same guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Like,
Oh.
so it is Karate Kid for us. That's why. That's
Yeah.
because there are certain.
It's
There
like,
are
dude, I'm
certain
gonna
things
name this
where-
dojo after the gang I was in the 50s.
Like, I'm
When
told-
that fucking space nerd shot me with that gun.
He's like, Cobras still rule, bro.
I got the carving right here.
Yeah, we just missed the part in Karate Kid where he carves the cobras into all their arms.
We certainly have our favorites. It's time for the game!
Game times. We're having a wonderful time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have prepared a game for today. For tonight's podcast. I think that our trivia games have been going well, so I have a game of questions and answers. However, It's not exactly the same ones we've been doing.
Sam Elliott.
Correct, and Chris is the winner. What's the next one? No, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this Jeopardy style tonight.
Do we need buzzers?
I'll take the rapist for 800.
Yes. Everybody will have a buzzer. Now, your buzzer is your own name. Okay. So, for instance, if Eric's going to answer a question, he would say Eric, and then give his response.
So, okay.
So this is like free for all. Nobody gets a specific question.
Right. Can I shout Chris and then say something idiotic?
It doesn't count. I
Chris,
know your voice. I'm not voice blind. So your buzzer is your name. So if John's going to answer a question, is going to give a response, he's going to say John, and then he's going to give his response. So it's like a first come, first serve, free for all, jump in thing.
Okay.
However, first of all, we're going to do this Jeopardy style. Your responses must be in the form of a question.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, shit.
Second of all, it is a well-known fact here on John Hates Movies that Eric is killer at trivia.
See,
so,
who is Sam Elliott?
I was just thinking in my head, how am I going to throw this?
So Eric is going to have a handicap.
Oh.
For every response that Eric gets correctly, he must say his own name an additional time in order to buzz in.
Okay.
So your first response, you say Eric, response. If you get that correct, next time you have to say Eric, response.
Okay.
Eric, response.
Okay, I like it.
Also,
right.
one final rule. I reserve the right to declare a winner completely independent of who scores how many points.
Wonderful.
Wow.
I think we all approve. All
I
right.
am a dark tyrant.
These games don't need to be fair.
No,
In fact, they're better if they're not.
It doesn't really matter.
Eric
Okay.
also has to touch his nose.
Further,
You're on the honor system.
I don't have arms.
Certain players may have an advantage also because the content of these questions is based on the content of not the movies, but this very podcast.
What?
In fact, yes, this is the John Hates Movies, John Hates Trivia. So,
wow.
Jeopardy style with Eric Handicap. So, so the questions
that
are
on
all
the
Better be a
t-shirt.
question about Good Burger in there.
I didn't dare. Spoilers, there's not a question about Good Burger. Okay, so is everybody ready? You all understand how to buzz in? Everybody? James, you've been quiet. Okay.
What is Tomb Raider?
So, item number 1. It is a widely known fact that Colin has a totally healthy obsession with Christina Ricci. Eric got super weird one time about this darling of the screen.
Eric.
Eric.
Damn it.
Who is Christine?
Incorrect.
James.
James, go ahead.
Who is Jenny A?
Jenny A.
Oh
is
shit!
correct.
I forgot about Jenny A. Oh, Christine, I was thinking about you.
Okay,
I did get weird about Christine that one time. Though.
That's true. That you did. Okay, so 1 for James. Okay, item number 2. This man is the director apparently most widely hated on this podcast.
James.
James is first.
I heard James again.
Yeah.
Who is John Waters?
John.
Eric.
Incorrect.
Hold on.
John.
What the hell? Wait.
I'm sorry, you have to re-buzz in after an incorrect answer.
Well, that's bullshit.
Well, I'm in
That's how
charge.
Jeopardy works.
It's John.
Who is Quentin Tarantino?
Correct.
Yeah.
Fuck you, I knew that.
Okay, in Chris's scathing review of Convoy, he claims that this movie does it better.
Eric. Vanishing Point.
Incorrect.
Chris.
Probably
Smokey and the Bandit.
It is Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh, shit.
You must
I did
form
reference
your responses in the form of a question. We'll let it
I
slide
did.
for now.
Probably.
All right. Item number 4. Colin refuses to acknowledge any recollection of this part-time podcast member.
Eric.
James.
Who is Devin?
Who is Devin? Okay.
I feel like we have to have him back just so that we can read.
Yeah.
Who? All right. Next item. This composer's work has been discussed in 2 different episodes
Eric.
of JHM. Eric.
Who is Ennio Morricone?
Who is Ennio Morricone?
Aren't you supposed to do
Very
Eric?
good.
No,
No,
because
he
that was
hasn't
my
got
first
that
one
right
right.
yet.
Now I have.
Now he has
Oh,
one
yeah.
left.
gotcha.
Eric.
Yeah, all
He's
right.
tied with John for second place. Now he has one. So now it's got to be Eric. Okay. According to Chris, this is the method of measurement of time based on prioritizing video games.
Wow.
Huh.
3, 2, 1.
Beep, beep.
What is bear up time?
I said that.
Oh, I thought it was Chris.
No, I said it's bear up time. It's all right.
Sub Eric to Chris. All right, next. John gets most of his ideas by doing this.
John,
James.
John,
looking around the room. What is looking around the room?
correct. It's like literally word for word what I have. Looking around the room. Next up, very good. Next up, if Facebook activity is any indication, these two people are our biggest fans.
John,
John.
who is John DeFort and Christine Peruski.
Correct.
Oh, John's in
into
first
the
place.
lead. Yeah, John's crushing it. Okay, next item. The Schmenkel Raider by Vlarf is more commonly referred to as this.
John,
James.
John.
what is the toaster?
Correct, man. John, killing it today.
That is right. That was a toaster.
Yep, the Schmenkel Raider by Vlarf Industries is a toaster, or at least serves the same function as a toaster.
Yeah, that's quite accurate.
This next up, we're winding down here. Only a few more. This is the most unilaterally hated movie reviewed on JHM.
Eric.
Eric.
The Master.
Chris.
Incorrect.
Chris. It was Crybaby.
I disagree. Anyone else?
I disagree. What?
James.
James, go for it.
Good Burger.
John.
John. Come on.
Eric.
The answer was
Eric, Desperado.
Leprechaun.
Oh,
Excuse me,
yeah,
what
we
is
all
Leprechaun?
didn't really like that movie.
Or
that
what
much.
is Leprechaun? Or maybe you should ask, why is Leprechaun? All right, next up, just a couple left. Dick Van Dyke was voted to have the worst accent in any movie ever. John incorrectly, but understandably, guessed this actor.
Chris. It was. Who is Kevin Costner?
Correct. Very good. Everybody's
Really?
got points on the board. Yes.
God, that's
All right, the final one. The whole cast agreed that Tracy Lords is hot in Crybaby, but Colin thought this looked hilarious.
Chris. What is her hair?
Correct. Very good.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of today's game with a whopping 4 points is John.
Yay!
Good job, Johnny.
And we're going with
Johnny.
John, you win.
This seems like bullshit.
No, it's not bullshit. John has listened to.
Dude.
John has listened to every second of every episode multiple times
Yeah,
because he has to edit them.
Presumably.
I may have stacked the deck.
Alrighty, so
You mean stacked John's deck?
Yes.
you guys ready for this?
Mhm.
I've been
Are you ready for this? Dun, 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 dun.
Boop.
Close.
Da, 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 da.
Dun,
Space
dun,
Jam?
dun, 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 dun,
Oh!
dun, 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 dun,
Da,
dun,
da,
dun,
da, 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 da.
Is
That's
the
right,
first
folks.
one?
We're watching Rocky,
Hell
the original.
yeah.
Oh, the
I
original.
didn't realize
alright.
it was on.
They put it. I
It
think they put it
is.
back on.
It is Rocky 1.
Then in that case, I'm totally down.
All right.
Yes.
Rocky
Like
one.
I was pretty sure like the second one was on there. I'm like, we're gonna watch the second one.
Sequel time is going to show up again.
Second
no,
Rocky
I'm-
is one of
this
the
is-
slowest moving movies in history.
I'll
Hey,
see.
you
I
know
finally
what?
get to watch this movie all the way through. I've never.
This is a movie that everybody knows about, but not
Absolutely.
everybody has seen.
Yeah.
And those who have seen, they may not have seen it recently, and it might not be
They may not
easily
have watched
remembered.
it right.
We're gonna watch it, and we're all gonna be screaming super fun, happy times.
Yeah.
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 I think I watched Rocky. Like,
No way.
So yeah, that's it.
I'm glad we get to watch a movie with Apollo F. Creed in it.
That's right.
Apollo
Apollo
fucking Creed.
Fucking
Right.
Creed.
Yeah.
That's right.
Billy D. Williams.
No, it's not Billy D. Williams.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Carl Weathers.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Carl Weathers.
It's Sidney Poitier.
Samuel Jackson.
Jackson.
Denzel Washington.
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy. Wow.
All right. Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to another episode of John Hates Movies.
LeVar Burton.
Butterfly in the sky.
I feel twice as high.
Take a look.
It's in a book. John hates movies.
Bring it around.
Oh, we ended on a high note.
That's good.
Good night, everybody.
You can listen to our podcast on iTunes, the Stitcher app, or directly on our website. Feel free to send us a movie review suggestion. You'll have an equal chance of getting chosen for next week's movie review. You can reach us through social media, either by liking our Facebook page, John Hates Movies, or following our Twitter at John Hates Movies. Our music was composed by Kevin MacLeod. You can find this track and many more on his website, incompetech.com. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week to hear someone say,
Ernest rides again, then
Ernest
goes to
one?
camp,
Yeah,
then probably Ernest Scared Stupid,